Hello, hello. It is not easy to make the transition from being an employee to becoming an entrepreneur. But today I'm going to share 3 tips to help make it a little bit easier. Stay tuned. Welcome everyone again to Momentum Monday with me, Emily McHugh, and to the Supercharged with Emily podcast, where it's all about cultivating your entrepreneurial mindset, nurturing and cultivating. Okay, I don't know where my words are today. And so it's a whole process being an entrepreneur. It's an entire process. And today's topic is really speaking towards making the transition from being an entrepreneur to an employee. And so I don't know how many of you out there might be thinking about starting a business, have already started a business, but would like to know what are some of the things you need to consider as you make that transition or as you think about that possibility. So this is the show for you today as we discuss some of those key things for you to consider. And so some of those points I want to just go right into this discussion is how to think more like an entrepreneur and less like an employee. So I'm not saying that you should never think like an employee and only think like an entrepreneur, because there are benefits of both that you need to consider. But there is definitely a shift, a mind shift, as you consider or you start a business or you're launching a business. And it's some really important things to think about in this process. So one of the first things that I encourage you to think about is, and it's not to really oversimplify this process by any means at all. You certainly don't want to oversimplify, but at the same time, we don't want to overcomplicate it either. So I encourage you to share your thoughts, share your comments, and I'll be able to see them a little later on, and I will certainly respond. But one of the first things is that you have to believe in your opportunity. You have to believe in your opportunity. And it starts with that, because you can't launch into entrepreneurship on a foundation of doubt. You have to believe it's possible. You have to believe that it's something worth pursuing. And also it has validity. And I shared some about this last week about how to use your time and resources. So I encourage you to check out what I shared last time on this topic. But it definitely starts with your belief system and your whole mindset process and how you approach things. And to know that you can come up with a solution, not just somebody else. You know, when you present yourself to work, you offer your services to an employer, they are telling you what they want you to help them do, like what their problem is that they'd like you to help them solve. Now you're doing it, you're flipping the switch. You're like, okay, I'm going to tell you how I'm going to solve this. Now, not to say that some employers won't ask you to tell you how you would solve something. So it's not to say your thought process is totally different, but it is a different perspective in terms that now you're responsible for solving the problem. And that takes us right to the next point, which is you have to take full responsibility. No excuses. You have to take responsibility for payroll. You have to take responsibility for filing taxes and all those mechanical things. But you know, any and everybody, I truly believe, can learn the mechanics. There are mechanics about filing for an LLC or an S Corp or whatever designation you seek as a corporation. You can learn how to do those things. You can learn the mechanics. But it's not the mechanics where people have the most difficulty. It's with the thought process. And I want to focus on the thought process, taking full responsibility. The buck stops with you. It stops with you. Totally. You can't say, well, that's above my pay grade. Can't say that anymore. oh, I'll just leave that for the next person to come on the next shift. And no, it's your shift always. Okay. So you have to take full responsibility. And I think this is one of the most difficult things for people to come to grips with. It's on you. I know we kind of glamorize the positives of entrepreneurship. Oh, freedom. Oh, set your own hours. Oh, be your own boss. I'm sure you've heard that. And today is Labor Day in the US, depending on where you're watching this. And most people, a lot of people, where are they? They have the day off. They have the day off. But if you're starting a business, what are you doing? You don't necessarily have the day off. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a time to rest. There's a time to relax. There's time to go to barbecue and cook out and all those things. There's a time and place for it all. But I tell you something, if you need that extra time to work on your business or work on your concept, this is a very good day to do that. Okay, or at least a portion of the day somehow. So you have to take full responsibility for your time, for your efforts, for your vision, and not be overwhelmed by that prospect, which of course it will be overwhelming because it is overwhelming. But then you learn how to break it down so it doesn't come all on you at once. But the first thought is, I'm going to take responsibility not only for my opportunity, but for what it takes to bring my opportunity to life. What does it take to bring my vision to life? And I take responsibility for that. Okay, this is a really tough one. I'm going to linger here just a few moments because there's some people in this world, they don't take responsibility for their actions or their thing. They have to, get permission. Oh, I just went ahead. let me go ahead. I'm going to go on to the next point because it's a full segue. You don't seek permission from anyone. Seek no permission. You can't say I have to get permission from my boss anymore. Because guess what? You're your boss. You have become your boss, so you do not need to seek permission. You do not have to get authorization. You do not have to get someone else to give you the go-ahead to start your business. That is the beauty of entrepreneurship. You don't have to get permission from anyone. Tell me who you have to get permission from. Tell me in the comments below who has to give you permission. I would like to know. Frankly, it truly is you. Yes, you may discuss it with your family members and close loved ones and friends and family. Get perspective, get some thoughts, get some feedback. That is perfectly fine. But when all is said and done, you have to make that decision. You have to decide. So you don't need their permission to decide. You have to decide. You may get their input, but you have to decide. So don't go looking for permission. This I could go on all day about this one. Entrepreneurs take initiative and go do what they have to do. They don't sit around wondering if they should do it. They don't sit around wondering who should they ask about it. Yes, I am very passionate about this. You got that right. You got that right. I'm really passionate about this. So much so that I have to. Okay, I know. I'm a little bit too passionate today, maybe. But the reality is that you only have to seek permission from yourself. Give yourself that permission to go forward and realize that you do have what it takes to do this if it's something you feel strongly enough about. And we're so conditioned that we have to fall in line behind somebody else's agenda that sometimes we forget that we can create our own agenda and that we can create our own path if you see that it's viable. And so let me do a little recap on these 3 key tips today on how to think more like an entrepreneur and less like an employee. So again, believe in your own opportunity. Believe that it's possible. Believe that you can do it. Take full responsibility for that opportunity. Realize that you're willing to do what it takes and you're not going to make a bunch of excuses to kind of like make yourself feel better. No. Forget the excuses. No excuses. Nobody wants to hear those. And number 3, seek no permission. Do not go running around the block 10 times to try to find someone to talk you out of your own idea, okay? Just believe that you can do it and give yourself that. Realize that if you have the vision and if you have the idea to pursue this opportunity, then in and of itself, it's valid. It doesn't mean it's necessarily easy. It's going to be automatic that everything's going to fall into place. That's why you need to get support. That's why you need to get yourself in a community. Hence, like the Supercharge Club is a great place to go if you want support for your entrepreneurial journey, because there are so many vagaries along the way for you to prepare yourself for. And so I encourage you, if you have any questions on this topic, or if you'd like to know more about how do I make the transition to becoming or to becoming more of an entrepreneur or becoming more entrepreneurial, even if you work for someone else, you still can be entrepreneurial. You know, you don't have to quit your job to be an entrepreneur. So there's a lot of aspects to this that I want to encourage you to think about. It really is about how you approach solving problems and providing solutions. And so let me know how this resonates with you. What are your thoughts on this? And in the meantime, I want to let you know that coming up in October, I'll be sharing more about this. I'll be having a free challenge on time management and time allocation is really the word. I'll be sharing more about that, so stay tuned. In the meantime, I want you to check out the superchargeclub.com for more on opportunities to get that support for your entrepreneurial journey. And if you have not picked up a copy of my dad's book, make sure you do, The Forgotten Reapers of World War II. I will be highlighting this book every single week. I'm pretty sure I'll be highlighting every week. Hold on. Just give me a second. Let me get to myself a bigger so you can see. Yes. Let me know in the comments if you've gotten your copy. Some of you were fortunate enough to get a signed copy from my dad while we had some limited copies available. Now it's on pre-order on Amazon, so go to Amazon. But this book is a page turner, people. It's a page turner. This is my dad's first published work at 103 years old, and the reviews that have been coming in from people who have read it already said that it's very easy to read and that they learned a lot and really enjoyed the book. So I'm not here just giving you a biased promotion. This is a good book. It's a good book, and that I'm proud to say that is a part of history that a lot of people are not familiar with. And so my dad shares about how the Jamaicans who came to the U.S. upon invitation by the U.S. government and the British governments to help with the war effort. So definitely check that out on Amazon. And until next time, people, I want you to stay supercharged. What else I need you to do? Make sure you put a review if this is a podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, drop your comments, subscribe, like, do all those things. If you're on Facebook or LinkedIn, wherever you're watching me from, say hello. Let me know if this topic speaks to you and other similar topics that you think would help you in your entrepreneurial journey. So until next time, I want you to stay supercharged and have a great Labor Day.